a total of 5 races. And speaking of races, we are off. So let's go ahead and get started in the prologue here.
Yes, we got the prologue for Fladervy starting it out here. Nenchin will start it out, as I said before, in-game time. So Nenchin honestly can start whenever, and we'll just sync it up when needed. Of course, we'll want to get it soon underway. Fladervy just bouncing a bunch to save some seconds here.
And with that, Fladervy is out of his prologue. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Fladervy's audio now. So 1 second here.
Okay, so starting it out, we got Fladervy on the Forsaken City. We are going to pause for a little bit, given the Nenchin's late start, so that we can have this properly synced up. So going into this, Fladervy is going to have Fladervy and Nenchin both at the points where they are basically going to be using a lot of the advanced mechanics that we learn, a lot of the speedrunning strategies. So there's our sync, and yeah, now they're synced-ish.
Yeah, and as mentioned, you're going to see a lot of tech here. Wall bounces, hypers, maybe an ultra or two, maybe a few corner boosts, we'll see. As some corner boosts have been found in Chapter 1 recently. And there's that ultra on Fladervy screen that I was mentioning.
Yes, we got what we call hyper dashes, wall bounces, and all the things can be extended, which means that we restore the dash before leaving the ground.
Fladervy taking a death there, but recovering nicely with that little spike jump there.
Yes, and Nenchin opting to do a slightly slower, safer version there, which is totally allowed, of course. And so Fladervy's little mess-ups did not cost him too much time difference here, given that Nenchin is taking some safer strategies.
Alright, so we're heading into Chapter 2, arguably one of the funnest chapters in the game, due to its gimmick, which is the dream blocks. You're not going to see much of them just yet, but when we get them turned on, the show's going to get really exciting, as Madeline's going to be able to fly through them at the speed of glitter and glam. And she goes in one direction until she comes out the end of it, so hopefully there's no walls or anything impeding on her progress. Fladervy's already got those going, and also that sound, oh my gosh, it's so satisfying.
Yes. I just always hope that I can get the longest dash through a dream block just so I can hear it for as long as possible.
No, it sounds so dope. And now Nenchin starting up his meet up with Battlein here. Speaking of which, Fladervy going through that, and Battlein is going to be doing her best to convince Madeline not to climb this mountain. She's going to do it by herself, but then she's going to have a few of her friends come along here. So we're going to have 3 of them, and then in the final screen there'll be 5. They all are on a 3-second delay of the player's movement, so the players have to be mindful of their routing to make sure they don't run into the other Battleins that are in hot pursuit. Fladervy doing a great job here.
Yes. Oh, missing the coin at the end there, so it has to go and reset. A coin is required to unlock this gate here. And now on this final screen, the Battleins can actually serve an impact, especially in this one section here with these 3 coins, as you are dashing around in circles, and your Battleins can easily catch up to you.
Yeah, a nice adaptation there from Fladervy, bumping into the wall there, but able to fix himself so he doesn't slam into any of them, and he's getting ready to escape the dream world and head into the awake portion of this chapter. Nenchin not far behind. Oh no, he's about to get crushed. Oops.
Taking
got a Madeline sandwich.
Yeah, taking a similar fall that Fladervy did earlier.
He makes his way out. Getting ready for that home stretch here as Fladervy moving into the home stretch on the awake portion. He's going to get to that phone booth, and he is out. I missed the time. Let me see if I can get a check here. He is currently clocked in at 4 minutes and 5 seconds in total. And nenchin not too far behind.
I will also mention that along with these players competing against each other, they're of course competing against their own PBs. So there have been many PBs happening in this tournament. People buckling down and getting really good at this game and getting better than they were before. So that is also something to watch for, even if the gap becomes even wider between these two players.
Yes, to put that in perspective, prior to the tournament starting, to get in the top 100, you essentially needed a sub 43. And I believe now, even to make the top 100, you actually have to have a sub 40, if that. So a lot of runners have been putting in a lot of work, especially during this tournament. PBs have been handing out left and right, and we're hoping to see a few more as we move through this bracket portion of the tournament.
Absolutely, and so right now we are in the Celestial Resort chapter now, and we got the Dust Bunnies here, who they move in cycles. Different cycles. One cycle when you enter the room, always the same, and then a cycle when you die. It's slightly different than the one that you enter in, but if you die again, it'll be the same cycle again. It's very consistent stuff that you can learn.
Fladervy there, and a few screens back, had a nice little corner boost there. As he makes his way into the huge mess, this beautiful room that's full of clutter. It's like IKEA on steroids. Basically, we got to navigate through here and reach Mr. Shiro so we can get that lovely key that's floating in the center. Fladervy handling this very nicely. About to get his conversation started. And now, basically, we're going to be cleaning. Ooh, hold on, wait a minute. Took my breath away with that ultra there. Oh, man. How do you explain?
Solid tech right there.
I was not ready. But, they're basically going to go run through and try to clear out each of these sections by hitting these jello-esque blocks there, as you see. And when they do, all of the specific item will be put away. So now our crates are gone. And for the most part, the runners have a route that they want to go to. They want to hit the crates first, then the books, and finally the towels. So that way, when we leave each section, we're very close to Shiro, so we can move on to the next portion of that. So we'll see how Fladervy handles the book section here, moving along nicely as nenchin is navigating through his first part of Huge Mess.
And Fladervy has now finished the second section of Big Mess, the books, and will be moving on to the towels very soon.
And nenchin making his way through the crate portion here. Got a few Dust Bunnies here and there, but nothing to be too scared about. Oh, dashed a little too early and lost his dash, but
able to save it. Sorry, steal your thunder. I'm just excited too.
No, it's totally fine. It's totally fine.
nenchin able to perform the spike jump on the first try there.
And Fladervy nailing that. Ooh, hold on. He nailed that cycle skip and got a corner boost to save a little bit of time from that death he had a couple screens back. Alright, Fladervy entering the elevator shaft at a 7:15. nenchin not too far behind again. Anything can happen as we move into the later chapters of the race here.
Both these players are just moving through it as methodically as possible, getting their little boosts along the way that they can. And nenchin has just finished out the books area and is now moving on to the towels section. And there's Fladervy getting that hyper dash, well, not hyper dash, actually yeah, hyper dash strategy through that room to get to the key, and then getting the intentional death at the end to warp back to the beginning.
I actually put a little remix on there. Instead of going for 4 hypers, he actually just took on 3 of those platforms. So maybe the strats are getting a little faster here. Oh, and has time to type in chat as well.
I believe that what might have been after this chapter, given the fact that we had to paused Fladervy's stream for so long to sync it up properly.
That is true.
So I'm gonna guess that that is after he has finished the chapter. And yeah, a Shiro section is certainly something to scream about. You got a charging a Shiro across the screen, and it's very precise, making sure to avoid all these dust bunnies at the same time. So it's certainly something that you have to keep in mind and keep going and make sure not to die, of course. You can get thrown very far back.
Looks like Fladervy's going to get through, hitting a sub 5, 4:51 for chapter 3. Very nice. Bringing his total time for the run at 8:59. Very nice pace here. As nenchin is getting ready to get to his key portion there. Running into a dust bunny, unfortunately. Opting to not do wall bounces here. Very risky strat, seeing as there's no ground for you to land on, but he's able to get through that nicely as Fladervy heads into Golden Ridge.
Nenchin also...
Oh, go ahead.
Nenchin going for this hyper dash strategy, failing it a couple times. But it's the same strategy as Fladervy did earlier, so I don't need to do too much explanation. You can go cover Golden Ridge.
Alright, so in Golden Ridge, we've got our wind here. It's going to be pushing Madeline back, but thankfully the dash, the almighty dash, can bypass all the wind, no problem. We also have these bubbles here that will shoot Madeline off into the direction of the player's choosing. It actually is possible to start that animation early by pressing the dash button while in the bubble. It saves a small amount of time, but with enough bubbles in both Chapter 4 and 5, this time save is huge.
And for Fladervy performing the second spike jump of the run, that one is significantly harder than the one that we did in the previous chapter.
Seeing a nice list of wall bounces here. Let's see if he's going to go for an ultra here. Oh, he's going for it. Oh, Box City! Let's see if we can get that run back on here. Let me see that ultra. Ooh, gets his second try.
Wow, that is an even fast. That's a faster way than I've seen before. I believe the one that used to be done is a hyper dash into a bunny hop, or wave dash, really.
Alright, so nenchin in the final screen of the Oshiro chase. There's a few screens out here. We'll see how he handles this. Doing a great job being mindful of where Oshiro's at by changing his route. Oh, with the bot to end the chapter too. Nice.
It's almost like a little bit of BM on Oshiro at the end of your chapter. Fladervy gaining some boost from these from these directional blocks to speed up a section that actually you can't speed it up because we have auto-scroller to deal with. But it looked cool.
It's always nice to see a runner throwing off a nice little bit of style here and there. Alright, nenchin just getting his Golden Ridge underway. As Fladervy hits the final portion here. The winds are at an all-time high, and so runners have to rely on their dash, choosing to not trigger the auto-scroller block there until after getting everything else set up. Kind of interesting strat there.
It's a bit of a safer strat, honestly. It certainly, I believe, is the way that they're just kind of intended you should do it, is getting everything set and then just go with it, but you can just get ahead of that block frequently.
Fladervy is making excellent work of this considerable challenging section. He's one screen away from any Chapter 4. nenchin getting ready to get to the second spike jump of the run.
Gets that on the first try.
Alright, so oh man, I cannot speak. This run has been so exciting that my tongue is all kind of which way backwards. Fladervy is in Mirror Temple. We're gonna see a bunch of showcases of some awesome tech here. It's like that Ultra. Again, we got the red bubbles, which are similar to the green ones, except they go in a direction until they run into something or Madeline dashes out of them. Fladervy running into a little bit of a problem here on this skip. Getting hung up there. He's going to change strats, or he's going to go for it again. Oh, he gets it that time. But we'll see a lot of cool movement tech in this portion of the run. Also including one of the biggest skips in the run itself. So nenchin about halfway through chapter 4. So he's going to go for it. No boost, though. So he's going to actually handle this room as intended.
Yes, the Nenchin's still doing some strategies that are very fun to watch. Getting a cloud boost over there.
As nenchin heads into the auto scroller, doing his own flair, doing some hypers and hanging on the wall here. Oh, nenchin missing the block there. When pushing him a little too far, as Fladervy enters the Seeker tutorial. That's the name of them. It slipped my mind there for a second. So this is basically, the player is going to be taking control of the Seeker and pretty much show what they're capable of. Ultimately, it ends when you defeat Madeline, and now we're heading into the portion where they'll come into play.
Yes, and Nenchin won't see, Fladervy won't see them for a little bit, so we have time to say at least that Nenchin has just entered the Harsh Wind section, and will be leaving Golden Ridge shortly.
Oh, nice strat from Fladervy there. Doing another spike jump, and saving some time. And here are our boys, the Seekers. Boys and or girls, depending. We don't know for sure, but we know that they're intent on stopping Madeline at any cost.
I'm pretty sure they don't have a gender, really. It's kind of whatever they want to be.
Ascendant beings. There, we'll go with that.
Yes. So, the Seekers, they will target onto your X and Y position and charge onto you at set intervals. You can bop them to stop them from charging at you for a set amount of time. And then they will burst out in a shockwave afterwards. That shockwave, anything they hit, that shockwave and any time that they charge into anything, any of the red blocks will be broken by the shockwave or by charging. And also can pick up any coins in the areas with that shockwave, or
can we talk about that
charging?
Surge skip, though?
That was a very smooth surge skip, yes. My explanation got a bit too long there for my own liking as well, actually. So
I gotta fan myself off. That was way too high. I thought the weather was hot. No, that skip. Woo! Oh my goodness. All right, nenchin now in the Mirror Temple himself, getting ready to run through these bubbles and get his way to the secret portion. As we got Fladervy handling Theo. It looks like we're seeing some ultras here, if I'm not mistaken. So getting a lot of movement. I know that in the previous rates, Gix also was going for ultra strats here too. So that seems to be the new thing that runners are going to have to actually incorporate, especially if they're going to look to be competitive in the bracket portion of the tournament.
Absolutely, and an important part with Theo, along with these ultras, is that when you pick up Theo, you maintain any momentum that you had when picking him up, so you can keep going and keep flying. You will not be able to dash while holding Theo, so the only way to go fast is by using the momentum when you pick him up.
But nenchin making his way a few screens before the secret tutorial on good pace, but loses his dash, unfortunately. Gonna have to start that room over again.
And Fladervy has finished out the Mirror Temple. That looks to be like a 430 IL, and I do not quite see. It was 17 something, of course. Let's see when we enter. Oh, 1643. Coming into Chapter 6.
And so we're more than likely going to see a lake skip on Fladervy's screen. See who's going to go for it. As nenchin getting through the tutorial section with the Seekers, takes out Madeline and is getting ready to move on. Fladervy getting leg skip on his second try and making his way through to pretty much throw these hands at Battlein. Get ready for that super epic bout between those two.
Yeah, so, and in this chapter, we still have, of course, the new mechanics. We got the feathers here, moving around with the joysticks, and we got the Kevin blocks, able to move you towards the direction that you dashed them from, while making a very nice noise provided by Kevin, one of the sound guys.
Give huge shout outs to Power Up Audio for providing the beautiful sound effects for Kevin and a bunch of others in this game. And now nenchin making his way through these secret rooms here. Just a few more to go. As Fladervy's mashing his way through this portion of Reflection.
I also got the bumpers, which I barely ever explain because they're pinball bumpers. They almost are self-explanatory with how everyone knows what pinball is.
I know some runners have claimed that even though there is no RNG in Celeste, the bumpers would be the closest thing that we have to them because they're not stationary. They kind of move back and forth at a very subtle pattern, and it is possible to bump into the wrong section, thrusting Battlein basically to her death. So, but Fladervy not having that issue as he is one screen away before meeting up with the lovely lady of the mountain.
And nenchin is able to get a search skip there. Well done.
Oh, Fladervy bumping into a wall and messing up his feather path. Trying to ultra to get back into it and taking another death there.
These bumpers are also moving in cycles, keep in mind, and so the cycles are the same story as any sort of cycle, say, from Celestial Resort earlier. So having to deal with a death cycle is slightly different than having to deal with the cycle coming into the room.
Alright, so Fladervy in the ravine section, there are 3 intended shortcuts from the developer. If you die on any of them, you will have to start at the beginning. There are checkpoints, but it's blatantly obvious that he did not need them because he is zooming through this water section now. I'm having trouble keeping up with him. So we'll see if doing some nice Cirque du Soleil moves here as he gets ready for the Battlein boost. We're gonna see it here. Nicely done. And let's see those haters in the chat, folks. We got the Battlein fight live and popping as nenchin making his way through the final section of Mirror Temple.
Yeah, moving through the Theo section and making some risky strats here, getting very close and personal with those Seekers. So moving in this Battlein fight, we got these lasers and we got projectiles shooting at us, and you just got to navigate your way to give that Battlein a nice hug.
Yeah, for the most part, the route is I wouldn't say optimized, but it's very similar amongst a lot of runners. And there are a few paths here or there. For example, skipping out on the feather with a couple ultra dashes. It's really what is up to what's comfortable for each runner. But the big thing for this section is you just don't want to die. The rooms are long, deaths can happen near the end of each stage, and you'll lose a lot of time. So you just really want to focus on just getting a very clean Battlein fight. And Fladervy making excellent work so far as he gets ready to a few screens away from round 2. Now nenchin finishing up Mirror Temple and beginning his reflection. Oh, nice ultra. I think that's one of the great things about Celeste right now is that, I mean, the game is been out for, I think, almost 6 months now. Maybe a little over that, but the run is still somewhat evolving. We still have tech that is looking to be utilized in each room, as we have ultras and corner boosts. And just watching all those time saves happening is really exciting.
Yes, and that's absolutely always the case. Speed games are constantly evolving, and especially within the first year of their release. You can look at plenty of games that have been out for 20-something years and are still being perfected. So this game is certainly no exception to that rule.
Ooh, can we talk about that last section with the bumper though? Oh my gosh, I thought he was gonna die.
Yeah, it was something I haven't seen. A lot of people opt to not use that bumper at all, but I guess it is slightly faster if you're able to get that one frame window of having yourself get flung away from the pinball bumper.
And it also looked like he was able to get an ultra off of that too, but I'm not 100% certain. I might have to look at the replay on that. But
he did seem to be going pretty fast, yeah.
Yeah.
So we got 22:44 for Fladervy going into the final chapter summit. As nenchin is moving through chapter 6 reflection. Almost out of it. I'm about to enter the shortcut very shortly. It's a very good time as well, and keep in mind of actually, this is fairly close, but I doubt it will get anywhere near, but you can keep in mind that this is still a very good time coming into this. Fladervy having that 30 minutes and 50-second PB.
Yeah, it's going to be very close, but a very solid summit could get him another PB here.
It's not out of the question, but it certainly isn't something to watch out for too much. I would say definitely for nenchin at least that keep looking for, because I believe it's a 43-minute PB for him. You said?
Currently he is a 40:52 from speedrun.com.
40:52.
Yeah, he is on pace to potentially get a sub 40 here if he can finish off reflection cleanly and then have a nice summit.
So it's definitely something to keep an eye out for, even with this large gap between Fladervy and nenchin. Is certainly something to keep watching both of these runners currently. So Fladervy has now moved through the 500-meter section, which was a Forsaken City sort of remix, and now we got an old site remix going on here at 1,000 meters.
So for the most part, Summit is basically a revamp of all of our previous chapters. It makes more sense if you are paying attention to the storyline. Ooh, Fladervy taking a death there, getting too low on that block.
Yeah, that is a very rare death that can happen. Basically, there is some areas of that. There is a small little area at the bottom of that dream block where if you're just a little bit too low, it counts as you hitting the wall on the other side, which is the floor. So that's just a little thing that can happen, and you gotta watch out for.
Also, you might notice that he's zooming through these dash blocks. It's possible to hyper out of them, which he did basically through that entire section. Making great time as he moves into 1500. One of the most challenging sections in the 80% run, in my opinion. I'm looking to see him just tackle this head on and just make this look super free.
Even if a lot of people would say this is the hardest section of the entire run.
Okay, he's flying through, skipping a lot of cycles in this first lung room, and he is out getting prepared for the second one. Don't blink.
Yes, this is called by a lot of people the triple hyper dash room. For good reason, triple ultra dash room, excuse me. And so, using a lot of, trying to use as many ultras as possible. Oh, accidentally not quite getting into the secret exit, secret entrance into this room. So having to redo that.
Quickly able to recover and get out of there, as nenchin moving through the battle and fight very well. It's a few screens before he gets into round 2 here. as Fladervy is moving into the 2,000 meter. We got our wind back and our lovely snowballs and our green bubbles. Let's see how he handles this here. Taking a strawberry with him. I wonder how far he's going to take it along for the ride. So that's one screen. Oh, he's got a friend now. Oh, no, not for too long.
Just for a little bit as we go through an auto-scroller skip here. Gets that hyper dash into the wall bounce at the end. Let's see if he does the second auto-scroller skip, doing another wall bounce towards the end. Did a little bit of a style point there. Getting a wall bounce that's not even required, because yet again, you have to meet up with that block to get the second one.
Yeah, shoutouts to the swag strats. It's always nice to see in a race setting. But yeah, he's flying through this part. My goodness. So nenchin in the home stretch on his reflection run here.
Fladervy has now moved out of the 2,000 meter section, now going into 2,500 meters. There we get a lot of the elements from the Mirror Temple stage.
These screens are going to fly by very quickly. We're going to be using a lot of ultras, especially having two dashes.
And nenchin in this final screen of reflection.
Fladervy going for key skip, gets it like it's nothing. And nenchin leveling up here, getting ready to start his ascent onto the summit.
And going into summit for nenchin, I'm not familiar with his ILs for the summit chapter, but given the usual average of about 9 minutes for a lot of inexperienced runners, it is certainly possible to be getting a sub 40 time here.
Yeah, I believe he clocked in under 7:30. That's definitely a respectable time for the PB pace that he has, or the PB that he has. So we'll see how he goes. I mean, yeah, he's in a really good spot to PB here. I mean, if he gets him, I think he can go as far as like an 11-minute summit, which is at least in my opinion about average for this area of skill for the PB that's present. So he definitely can make it. We'll see. But we're going to switch back to Fladervy as he starts heading into the home stretch of summit. And so chat, you know what to do. Let's see those flag callouts as he starts making his final climb.
And we got this downwind giving us higher gravity. Jumps don't go as high, and we fall faster. So there's going to be a lot of as much upward dashing as possible, a lot of wall bouncing happening as well. As nenchin is now moving into the 500 meter section.
Yeah, and as quick as Fladervy got into the section, he is out heading into the updraft. Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
Yes, that was very smooth, and I will say it right now. There's no chance of a PB from Fladervy, really, but it's still certainly something to see, being able to move through all these flags with ease. Nenchin now in the final screen of the 500 meter section.
Oh, Fladervy taking a death on flag 13 there. Oh, taking a death in that crystal.
Yeah, trying to go for a diagonally upwards dash into that little section there. That's very risky to do. But given this given this lead that he currently has, and knowing that he can't get a PB, this is certainly stuff that he can do. Practicing little things here and there to potentially have some good practice in for that next time he's going for that PB.
Oh no, nenchin grabbing the wrong block there and having to take a death to do this room over again. Oh no, doing it again, that's such a time loss.
as we are watching these players go through this chapter, I want to remind everybody that neither of these players will be removed from the bracket completely. Nenchin will be moving, losing this. If Nenchin loses this match, he will be moving on to the lower bracket. This is a double elimination tournament, so this is certainly something to watch. You're sizing up each of these players, seeing what they're going to be doing in future races of this bracket.
Alright, so Fladervy in the home stretch here. Just a few flags to go.
Yes, just passing flag number 2 right there, and now, and we'll be moving on to flag 1 right now.
Now nenchin moving through 1500 here very nicely. Looks like Fladervy might get a sub. Yep. Finishing it at 31. I'm going to say 31.58. Fladervy is your winner for the second race of the any percent tournament. Bracket portion, that is. All right, so we're going to switch over to nenchin. Not getting his dash back there, unfortunately, but making his way through 1500.
I don't know if the Derby is able to talk, but even during these last 2 sections, where I would be totally inviting for Derby to come into the chat, into the call with us for short interview, and also maybe even just some co-commentary as we watch the end of this at the end of this for the potential PB from nenchin.
Yeah, nenchin is still on great pace here. He can get through these last 2 sections. He'll have a lot of time for 3,000 meters to get that PB. So I'm checking over the bracket now, and with this victory from Fladervy, it looks to be that he's going to be facing the winner between iSalad and Ike, Mr. Ike. So we shall see how that pans out. I'm not sure if that has been scheduled yet.
I will check the schedule in a second. Hold on.
Alright, nenchin getting through the auto scroller section here. Gonna see if opting to take the intended route there. Respectable choice, as taking a death that late in that screen loses a lot of time.
It does not look like that match has been scheduled yet.
Alright, and nenchin is out of 2,000 heading into 2,500 here. See if he's going to go for the infamous door skip or not.
Yes, I will also point out that nenchin will be facing the loser of match number 12 on this bracket, which would be between Salad and Mr. Ike. So that is something that nenchin will have to be keeping in mind as well, moving into the lower brackets.
nenchin getting the key skip there, nicely done. I mentioned if he's going to go for door skip or not. Personally, if I was on a PB pace, I would not go for a door skip, but we'll see what he's going to do.
I agree with that statement. It only saves 1 second, and it's not so much that you want to risk to keep going for. Threading the needle, if he is comfortable doing it, going for it is certainly something you can do, and seems that he just wants to do it at this point, and gets it on the 3rd or 4th try there. Is going for door skip, doesn't get it, and keeps going for it. This is very interesting. Honestly, keeping to use this time as practice, despite the fact that it is still PB territory. Wants to keep that practice going, potentially going into the lower bracket.
Nice save there. I think he was trying to climb on top of the brick, but just ran out of stamina. Saving himself. Oh, no. I know in this portion, if you go too high up, you actually... Oh, my gosh. Running into the spikes there, unfortunately. I was going to say, if you go too high up, you actually don't have any ground to land on, so... I thought he was going to actually have to take a death earlier there. Oh, missing that again. nenchin running to a little bit of a hiccup here on this portion. See if he's going to get his bearings together so he can get through this and head into the final section. Looks like he's trying to get to that that dash block a little too early, and he's just not getting enough distance from his dash. Oh. And he gets it there. All right, he is out heading into his 3,000 portion here.
Yes, and as before, we do have we have 38 minutes and 30 seconds. Can I get a reminder that PBO is 40 minutes 53 seconds, right?
40:52. So it's going to be
40:52, off by a second. I'm close. Yeah, yes, it's certainly be done.
If he can run his 3,000 flawless, he has a shot. So we're going to see. So far, so good. This makes this dash crystal portion.
Yeah, no slip-ups yet. Yeah, a few minor mistakes, but nothing that really is going to cost him too much time so far.
Unfortunately, taking a death there.
This can still be saved. I believed. I thought that could be saved. Honestly, it might have been savable. I'm not even sure. But no matter, now we are now moving into the updraft section very shortly as he gets through flag number 22 and then flag 21.
All right, nenchin moving into the updraft portion. Oh, not getting an up forward dash there. Unfortunately, slamming into some spikes. Gonna have to start all over on this section.
Yes, I will like to remind L runners that if you are trying to get that PB, the section that you should practice the most is, of course, the summit. We got just about a third of your run is the summit. So you want to have this down. You want to be able to get the stuff with very minimal mess-ups so that you do not cost yourself too much time coming into this. PBs can easily be made if you just get your summit down and very perfect. Almost very close to perfect.
Alright, so nenchin getting into the lock section here. Scott that just got to make us thread the needle, and he does so very nicely. But yeah, I do agree with Troy of Athens. Summit is the biggest opportunity to make or break for PBs. I know from personal experience that Summit has denied me many a times of personal bests.
And unfortunately, it will be denying nenchin of a PB today as well. But it's certainly something to keep in mind when you are practicing this. Practicing this game.
And especially with races too, like I've seen throughout the group portion of the tournament, so many lead changes happen in Summit due to a death here or there. So it's definitely one of those spots where if you are looking to make that final push, the summit is like the best place to practice and make sure you get that down.
Yeah, a lot of people leaving now that the PV potential has been taken away. I will say, as a reminder, to follow the racers and the commentators here, we are all working hard, especially all these runners who are trying to get those PBs down, trying to get through this bracket. And to also potentially watch other channels on Speed Gaming. There's randomizers going on pretty much every other channel. Mega Man 2 randomizer on Speed Gaming 3, Link to the Past and Super Metroid on Speed Gaming 1. It's a co-op thing. Daily Race about to happen on Speed Gaming 4, and Zelda 1 randomizer about to happen on Speed Gaming 2. But don't want to distract too much from nenchin, who is at flag number 1 now.
In the home stretch, still able to maybe get sub 43 here. We'll see. There's a few more dashes. He is done right underneath the wire. Let's see. I saw 42.59.
That's what it looked like to me as well, yes.
Yep, still
42.59.597.
Nice showing from nenchin, and of course to our Victor Fladervy. And I don't know if we have something lined up on Speed Gaming 5. We can see if nenchin would want to hop in for an interview.
We do not have anything lined up for Speed Gaming 5. Speed Gaming 5 is done for the day. So we can talk to nenchin if we want.
Yeah, we'll see
if he wants to as well.
If they want to jump in for an interview, we have a little bit of time for that. While we try to see if that's being set up, I would like to go over some of the races for the Celeste Any Tournament that we have lined up tomorrow. First and foremost, all these times are going to be Eastern time. So starting at 10 a.m., we're going to have Oddbod versus Lucindus. As much of an uphill battle this is for Lucindus, I'm definitely rooting for him. He was from my group, so I got to root for all of my boys in Eye of the Storm. We also have Birdo Prey versus Tidemos at 1 p.m. And then we have King Captain 27 versus Maya Undefined at 4 p.m. Followed by Ruby Dragon versus Title at 6. And then KBZZ42 versus Texter at 7. So we have you set for Celeste all throughout tomorrow. So be sure to tune in. The channels are not live just yet. So you'll have to check the schedule to see what will be available. But there's a lot of good matches coming up. And then we have a whole bunch of them lined up for the rest of the week as well.
Okay, I'm not finding nenchin in the Twitch chat. I have messaged him on the Discord. Let's see what happens. But it has been good. It has been good showing from both players here.
Oh, definitely. And I'll actually zoom over to the bracket and see if there's any other matches that might be of interest to people. So give me 1 second here.
Okay, I'll go over what matches we have tomorrow if you have not said them yet.
Oh, I did cover this already.
The exact times and who they are? Did you do that? Okay.
Oh, sorry, I did take care of that. I was in the wrong box. My bad. I did mention that. Well, actually, you know what? Now I'm not sure because I might have not even had the right box open. So if you want, you can go ahead and run over the matches that we have for tomorrow in case I goofed up.
Okay, yeah. So yes, we have Wednesday. We have at 1 p.m. between Birdo Prey and Tidemos. 4 p.m. between King Captain and Maya Undefined. 6 p.m. Ruby Dragon versus Title. And 7 p.m. between KVZZ42 and Texter. So those are all very good matches, actually. All of those, I believe, some of them are. All the matches we have are either seed 2 and 3 or seed 1 and 4. If you can think of any matches in there that you would like to look forward to, let me know. FC.
Yeah, we also have, I don't know if you mentioned or not, but Oddbod versus Lucindus at 10 in the morning tomorrow.
Oh, I missed that one, yes.
I know one of the matches that I've seen in the bracket that I'm actually really, really excited for is Renubis the Beard versus Dave Stereo. I believe their PVs are very close, and I'm excited for that match. I'm also excited for Black Pair versus Moose_SR. I have set myself up to commentate that match. It's going to happen this weekend. Black Pair has been on a tear. Let me just run some stats real quick. So at the beginning of the tournament, in the group portion, he entered at a PB of 45 minutes. And his PB right now, let me scroll my notepad real quick. His current PB is 34 minutes and 8 seconds, which is, to me, that's crazy. Like, in a span of like 4 to 6 weeks, he's chopped off 11 minutes off of his PB and entered that like super high-end runner state. So that match is going to be very exciting as well. Let me see, what else do we got here? So unfortunately, I'm not really sure about any of the other brackets matches. I think A Caroline is going against Uncle Ronnie. That could be a pretty good one too. But yeah, there's tons. I mean, you know, check out the bracket as we'll pop that in chat.
Yep. And since we're allowed to shill for our own stuff, I will say that I will be streaming directly after this, doing some Hearthstone Puzzle Labs that has just opened, trying to solve all those puzzles. So, yeah, shilling for myself. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. I'm actually going to see if I can find any other Celeste games running, or I might check out a couple of the other speed gaming channels to see some of these randomizer action to see what's going on. But
yeah, I was actually very interested in potentially that Super Metroid and Link to the Past randomizer co-op tournament thing going on there. I'm not even entirely sure how that works, so that's certainly something to look into.
Yeah, it does sound pretty exciting. But we're going to go ahead and wrap this race up. So I'd like to thank Troy of Athens for commentating alongside with me. I had a great time. I hope you did as well.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And then, of course, congratulations to Fladervy moving forward in the bracket. Again, nenchin is not out. He has been moved to the lower bracket where he can still continue on his tournament run. But one more loss will have him pack his bags and send him home, so we'll see. But yeah, I want to thank everybody that's in chat for watching, and we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. So I hope to see you guys in chat tomorrow for more exciting Celeste action.